I was really outside. Same park, same slide by the projects. Told me, little man, redefine bread. Devil in the detail, angel in the progress. Real one had to grow from the nonsense. Turn pain into profit, not a fanfare. Put the city on my shoulder like a bar set. Every setback was a stair, not a casket. Real man, real OG, I don't fold. Whoa. Oceanside sitting heavy on my soul. Pay brand, I don't fall, that's all. God got the wheel, I just hug. I throw my hood on my back, still I rise. They throw dirt on my name, I baptize. Trials in the city, I survive. I turn all that hate into light, into light. Things that I give, they don't listen.
Hello and welcome to our special edition of the Music for Life podcast. I am Kelly Davis, in for Christopher Swan, who usually is the host of the Music for Life podcast, and we are in collaboration with Outwork Dream Killers as we present at Will Harrison down here as we present this wonderful special edition right here at in the beautiful city of Carlsbad, California, inside the Chamber of Commerce. We have the phenomenal. We have the incredible. We have Mark Henry in our studio today, who is yes, round of applause. He is definitely no stranger to podcasts as he hosts his own. Mark, just give a little shout out. What's your name?
Hey, activate today.
That's right, about positivity and good vibes, correct?
That's right. Activate what's inside of you, because everybody comes with it, right? It's in you, but you got to activate it.
There you go. And speaking about activated, I want you to take us back, because this is a special edition of the 80s and 90s and hip hop. Where were you? What were you doing in the late 80s, early 90s in the hip hop scene?
Ooh-wee. Late 80s?
And yeah. And remember, everyone was young, so we're going to keep it clean, but you know, yeah.
Well, everybody see me, I had a flat top about that big running around here.
Did you really?
Yes, ma'am. Flat top about that big, running around like Kid and Play, huh? Just run around here making it happen, man. I started doing this music, you know, it was a trip. Music kind of like fell on us.
Yeah,
so we had. It was either music, gangbanging, drug selling. I mean, I'm being honest, or sports and school. So I
sometimes a combination of those.
I was about to say I kind of did all of it. But by the grace of Him, I'm still here. Yeah. You know, I'm still here. But that's it for me. Like I was in it.
So what brought you to it? Was it like some people had said like that first rap song they heard hit them and like I got to be a part of it, or they just saw the scene, or what hit you? Why did you have to be a part of that, of the hip hop scene in North County, San Diego, by the way? That's what we're talking about specifically.
Well, looking back on it now, I believe it was just a part of history, because when I say that is because I loved music already. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Wake up in the morning, you know, smelling bacon and eggs. You know, on some Sundays or Saturdays when mom's off work, music and they're playing Al Green. Mm-hmm. You know, Peaches and Herb. I mean, I'm being honest. You know what I mean? We like, whoa,
reunited.
Yeah, Earth, Wind and Fire. Yeah. So it was kind of like I had already had the groove for it. And then at that era, at that time, like I said, it was only a few things to do. You know, Boys and Girls Club, basketball, sports, or get in trouble. You know what I mean? So our little neighborhood, it was kind of like seeing other people go before us. And like we had a Mission Bowl back where the casino is, Ocean's 11. Used to be Mission Bowl, bowling alley. And everybody used to go there. Ice-T came there, you know, DJ M1. I mean, back in the day. So those are the things that we would be like, oh my God, you know, they're here in Oceanside.
So were you part of the people that were bringing those groups down here? Who was promoting those kinds of things to bring them down here?
So there was a lot of people back then. Back then, it was kind of like word of mouth. But back then, there was people like Magic Trick, you know, bringing people in, like with B-Boy Rage and all these other people back in the day, Darryl Strawberry. You know, you had other people that was actually bringing them in the 80s, like 86, 87, 88, up until the 90s. That's when, in the 90s, that's when we began to do things differently because, you know, our Lil Slim from Oceanside, me and him, he's like my brother-in-law. We, you know, for years. And so he was rapping really well. And Eazy-E came to our house, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So once that stuff started happening, I mean, it was pretty much over. You know what I mean? It was like nobody around in Oceanside was having Eazy at their house. You know what I mean?
That's right.
You know what I mean? Right on Shadow Ridge, you know what I mean? Knock on the door, boom, 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 big bodyguard coming, like, hey, what's happening? And Eazy pop around the corner. You know what I mean? So that was kind of like that. Then like, and I still have some of those relationships to this day. Those relationships with Ruthless, were everlasting. Like I still talk to Cocaine to this day, 8 Above the Law. I mean, to this day.
For those that may not be familiar with some of those names, could you give a little context to that?
Ruthless Records. Ruthless Records. Everybody, Ruthless Records. I mean, from like a lot of people don't understand how Ruthless was on point. I mean, without no Eazy, there probably wouldn't be a lot of this West Coast rap. Period. Dre and all that. So it was like, you know, like I said, Eazy, Above the Law, which is, you know, Hutch, KMG, you know, then the rapper Cocaine, really Jerry Long. And his dad was Jerry Long. You know, he wrote Just My Imagination. You know what I mean? So we got history in this thing, and that's where I ended up, you know, staying there, dealing with these dudes. And like I said, dealing to this day, you know, being, having after school programs and things. They come down and they talk to my kids. Rage comes down. I've had, like I said, Lady of Rage. I've had Edie the Don, Tupac's brother. I've had Yo-Yo, the rapper. She comes every year to my stuff. You know what I mean? So just putting in work from back then, understanding that it was all about relationships. You know, a lot of people, I think they didn't understand the music business. You know what I mean? A lot of people think that you're going to get rich and going to do this. You can, but it's not what they think. It's a job.
That's right.
It's a job. And those connections that we had or that we were making, even like the one everybody said, the E40, they thought I did that. But you better ask T-Ski. It's just about knowing people and putting people in the right direction with who needs to get what. And that's how I look at a lot of stuff in this world to this day from some of the stuff we did back in the day. You help enough people get what they want, you're going to always have what you want.
So take us back, Mark. What do you think was the first, like, if it can be the first hip song, one of the first hip hop songs that just struck you? What do you think was the first one?
Honestly, I'm gonna be what I think that I remember that was some first hip hop songs that struck me. Besides B-Boy Rage, I'm gonna be honest with you, that More Bounce to the 40 Ounce was crazy. Like I think about that song like a lot. I be wanting to just revamp it and put it in something and redo it because the beat was bananas. But I can honestly say there was other stuff that I can remember to this day. Lottie Dottie, we like the party. I mean, that was crazy to me. You know what I mean? Dougie Fresh, Slick Rick, and then Children's Stories, Chubb Rock. I mean, those. But I can honestly say, I remember like when I just woke up one day and it was like Lottie Dottie. Lottie, you know what I mean?
That was crazy. And with the show.
Right,
yeah,
the show.
Yeah.
And another one I think too, I remember riding the bus to Jefferson like it was yesterday, 1984, 85. I mean, we was on the bus. It was Jack Hill, it was a bunch of us on the bus, and somebody had a radio, and it was, why'd you have to make a record about me? Why? Yeah. Roxanne. And I was like, what is this? This girl is going bananas.
Okay, were you on the bus with those big old...
I'm talking about headphones this big and big boom box back in the day. You ain't even supposed to have a boom box. You can't even hide it in the backpack. The bus driver say, turn it on, get off this bus. But those were some of the songs that I remember, like they stuck out as far as rap, like yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they...
You know what's crazy? A lot of people say Rapper's Delight. And Rapper's Delight was, I remember it did have that impact, but it wasn't crazy for me. Like, cause we had heard rap and funk music, but it wasn't, we didn't know it was hip hop or rap or none of that yet. But what did it for me, the one that just blew my mind was The Message. The Message and Survival. Remember Survival? I was like, it was just so vivid, and then I'm living in the ghetto, and it was like, you know what I mean?
I heard The Message, but I think that one and the other one we talking about didn't really hit me because that was something my mama was listening to.
No.
You know what I mean? And I was kind of like, okay, Mom, it's cool, but then, and I love The Message, don't get me wrong. You know, I love the jam, but like you said, to get me moving, I woke up was like, oh my God, what is this? Because I heard a message, and I'm thinking, you know, that's my mom and them. They familiar with that. You know,
Yeah, 'cause
roaches
they
in the
was
act,
older,
rats
yeah.
in the back. You know, what I mean, they ain't familiar with that. I'm like, okay, but then when we hear that lottie and all these other things, you know, what I mean, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, because that was a party rocket right there. The show, because I remember that too. That was during the time when you couldn't wait for the weekend to go to the party.
Right.
And you put on the show as soon as it came on.
And I think that's a problem with me too. Like back in the day, I was DJing.
Yeah.
Like I think I was the first. Everybody remember. It's funny, right? But I think I was the first person on the east side that made speakers out of boxes. I'm talking about, when I say boxes, I mean cardboard.
You made speakers out of a cardboard box?
Boxes. I made turntables out of TVs.
Stop
TVs,
it.
you know, the old school TV that used to have the
tubes
radio,
in the back?
the radio,
Oh,
the record
yeah.
player inside the TV.
Yeah,
On this side, they're about that long.
Oh,
You
yeah.
open up the wood case.
It was,
Yeah.
they were old furniture
lift it
pieces
open.
back
Yeah,
in
right.
there.
So I would take the turntable out of those, and it would just be
Wow.
empty on the bottom. It looked like looks like it looks at the top, but nothing at the bottom. You know what I mean? Just a little thing with a little belt driven down on the bottom. That's it. And I would put those things in the military MRE packages, like those. They had the ropes on the side, the wooden things at the. Yeah, I took them out. Me and Gus Dawson, man. I mean, creative. I would put them in there, and then there it was. I mean, they worked just the same. It was just the housing that was different.
I
Then the
forgot
speakers.
about Gus, bro.
Yeah,
That's
right.
DJing.
And then the speakers, I just went in my house one day and I was just thinking, like, okay, the box is what matters. So I ended up getting cardboard boxes, stuff them with a sheet or a pillowcase and pillows in there, and then put the speakers in there. Sometimes they would break because we rattling sometime, but then double line them. It was working perfect. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Resourceful.
The ingenuity. You know,
You fold it up and put it in the car and fold it back out.
And we gone.
Oh.
And we gone. I tell you right on now. Like. Everybody be looking at me like, this boy crazy. But hey, we was rocking the spot.
but this is, and again, it goes back, and we talked about it in some of our other podcasts about the hip hop in the 80s and 90s. You know, people look at music now and the accessibility of devices and whatnot, and the expense. That equipment back in the day was expensive and heavy. And so what you're talking about, Mark, is the ingenuity. And I really want to, I say it in every episode, y'all were young. You know, how, you know, you're not having any jobs, you're not having any of that. And the ingenuity and the creativity, you know how smart you all were to even look at something and get the concept of doing that. And I think that that's really important, that people think, you know, back in the day, a bunch of knuckleheads. No. These were y'all were businessmen and women back in the day.
Little pioneers, you know, really, because I was working then. I wasn't working no job, but I mean, if I was going to do a party, I go do a party and I might not make no money. $20-$30 was cool back then, you know, but it was, I didn't do it for that anyway. I do it for the love. I did it for the love for music. I love music, man, and I've always loved it. And I think looking back now, it was just same as work ethics that I have today. I just put in a lot of hours. Like I was talking, it's funny, we have this podcast just on last week one day. I'm at King Middle School, and we have a music production class there. Good people too. I got DJ Rec doing my music production over there. Rec is rectacular. And I had this one little African American kid that he was like, oh, I love music. I said, you going to the music group? He was like, nah, I teach myself. And I said, oh, that's cool. I like that. I said, but stop wasting your time. He looked at me like I was crazy. I said, don't do what I did. He said, what you mean? I said, success leaves clues, young man. It took me 20 years to figure it out. And I still haven't figured it all the way out. I said, you can go in there, listen to DJ Rec, who's on Schoolboy Q's albums, who works on everybody, work with Top Dog Entertainment in the industry, work with DJ Quick. You can go and learn from him within 4 or 6 months what took us 20 years.
Yeah.
And he looked at me, he was like, oh, no, I'm going to do it by myself. So we were like, okay, but here's the thing. We get to that at the end. They get him. I got pictures right now, video. He up in there.
Okay.
In that class. He up in that
Listen.
class. He got the headphones on, a little music, the keyboard
That's
like
awesome.
you know? So that's what I think. That's my goal too. We went through all this stuff, but help these kids become these little engineers too, because I think a lot of kids look at stuff nowadays and like, oh, that's too much. When they need to understand it's not too much if that's your dream, if that's your love, it's worth it.
That's right.
It's worth it.
So when you back in the mid '80s and you first meet, he was going by Will Ski back then, and his group there. When was the first time you heard this? You talked about the music and all that.
I'll tell you how that happened. Like before the music happened, we was running the streets.
Okay, so
Then Will was gone for a minute. And we're like, where he go? He wasn't in jail or nothing. Well, he was doing the music. And they got their music stuff together. Then Will and them popped back on the scene like people were raised. Like, oh. Then I think, I never forget, was the first show you guys did was at Mission Bowl somewhere. I remember on the stage with that, with Daryl Strawberry and Michelle Strawberry came. That thing was crazy. That was one of the best
Where was
shows I've
that
ever
at?
seen.
I'm
trying to remember. I think it might have been at Mission Bowl. It was somewhere in
It was the
Oceanside.
80s.
Somewhere. Yeah.
It was a lot
But
going
it
on.
was one of the best shows that I remember like that show, like today. Like, because it was crazy. It looked exactly like it was supposed to look. You know, it looked like they did that. You know what I mean? So that was one of my main things too. That's when that happened, it solidified it for everybody else that was, I would say, in our area, which would be in the hood. Right?
because you had a reference point of that's one of us.
We
kind
seen
of?
it like, oh, it can happen.
Okay.
You know, some people was upset, like why wasn't it me, because they was rappers too. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I've always had this type of mentality. I've never worried about the next man. I said, well, if he can do it, I can too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So therefore, me and Gus had to go back to the drawing board. That's all it was. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go regroup, do a new album.
Shout out to Gus too.
Shout
man.
out to Gus Dawson. Yeah, he
Where's Gus these days?
I heard he moved up to, but he's not hard to find. I heard he moved up to, up to making a Menifee area.
Okay.
But just recently, but he's not hard to find. Because Gus, let me tell you something. Gus Dawson got to be on this. We can't,
Yeah, 'cause I
there's no
remember-
music in Oceanside without Gus.
Yeah, I remember seeing Gus at a lot of house parties. You know what I'm saying?
DJ Sly.
Yeah, DJ Sly.
That was his name.
I remember back in the day, it was DJ Sly, Too Smooth, and I had went by Quick before Quick came. But then Quick came out. Quick was harder than everybody, so I could not be too quick. You know what I mean? I spelled mine Q-U-I-C-K. Then, I mean, it was all of a sudden we heard, doom, 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 Quick is the name. I'm like, everybody looking at me like, oh. So I just gave it up. I was me. I'm Mark. They call me Meezy back in the day, right? So I've been that forever.
Meezy?
Yeah. Meezy Mark, Miss Mark. You know what I mean? So it was like, you know, but Gus Dawson, Jack, I mean, there's a lot of people that paved the way in Oceanside for music, you know, like, but as far as I believe, besides, you know, there's probably people before the Magic and Tricks, before Will, but I believe that Will has played a really big part of our music scene in Oceanside, period, North County, because everybody wanted to go that route. When they say B-Boy Rays, you still remember them to this day, you know, Daryl Nelson, you know what I mean? Saying, you know, Rossi, you know what I mean? It's crazy. You won't forget them. You know, because that's history. That's something you can't take from Oceanside, at least. You can't have music history without saying a Gus Dawson or Jack Hill or Wilski or B-Boy Rage or Mark here. It's just, and rest in peace, Hunchback.
Yeah, Big Hunch.
Now,
rest in peace.
who's
to Big
Hunchback
Hunch.
in this scene? Who's
He rapped with. He was one of the Hunchback. Was doing music with Gus Dawson, with Sly and Brock, right? But Hunchback was actually almost one of the first rappers around Oceanside that came out with a tape or a CD or a tape that was fully done everything, put in the store, put on the shelf, and Gus and them was pushing it out, the swap meets, all the swap meets. But it was, you know, it was a good run. I went to the studio with him. He had Walk the Path of the Warrior. I mean, his music was before its time.
I was anointed, constructed by an unseen force, a universal, not commercial, lyric lord of war, the diabolical, sinister, unleading the blunt, professional, incredible, the hook of ripping the run. This ain't the bitches when I'm stepping with my lyrical knot, the only weapon that is kept up in the back of my mind. It takes a million of civilians that are willing to die in Mortal Kombat with the E, the L, the D, and the I. The A, the B, the L, the O, the solo bolo, the flow, total control, toe to toe, and blow for blow when I flow. The funky Bible of the people from the valley below, the written verses I'm rehearsing in my golden tempo. The motivating I'm creating when I'm taking my time. The criminals get to get with something new and divine, and easily and with perceivable speed I'm leaving behind. The ones who feed upon the greed and need still to survive. The holy knowledge and I taught it with the usual style. Translated, been created, understandable now. I know the madness from Atlantis to the African now. Just like a prophet when I drop it, I'll be taking out miles and miles of land. No more I will stand in the path of the battle ram, thinking he's better than the next man. I'm breaking with my bare hands, then the war dance was thought when it's thought I sport the strength from my rhymes.
Okay.
He was really. You can listen to. You can put on a Hunchback, search him up, put it on right now, and you would say, "Well, this is the 80s, 90s." You know what I mean? Because he was before his time.
And he's no longer with us. You said, yeah.
He passed a few years
And Hunch
ago.
was one of the people that I ran with. Like, it was a crew of MCs that was like a little upper echelon. It was a bunch of rappers, but it wasn't too many people that, like, for me, I respected. You know what I'm saying? But Hunch was one. Hunchback, and we ran together just like us. You know, we was homies. You know what I'm saying? So, man, and that was cold when I heard he passed. But yeah, he was one of the real lyricists.
He's so real though. You know, when Hunchback passed away, I just talked to him a couple weeks. That's how I am. You know how I am. I'm vaccine. I love to, be with people, especially my people. I'm not a front runner like, I keep with Mark, talk to Mark, he helped me. No. Behind the scene. I just been talking to him a lot. Even when he was in the hospital, I just talked to him because he couldn't eat that stuff. He died. He's renal failure and all this stuff. Man, he was on Facebook critiquing stuff he wasn't supposed to be eating. And my doctor said I ain't supposed to eat this at the hospital. In the hospital room, but and I called him and said, "Man, what you doing?" "Oh man, Mark, man, I'm gonna die anyway." I tried to talk to him, but he knew where he was going, and I love that guy because he was Hunchback Reggie until he left.
Sometimes people get like it's quality versus quantity at a certain point, so it's unfortunate.
He's a part of history, though. If I wish he was here, we hold him up as he did, because everybody who sees this, who from outside around here, they're gonna know. They're gonna say, "Yeah, that was a dude." Jack, he was flowing too. Jack Nasty, Jack Hill came out with his stuff. I mean, there's so many people. Chris Gibbs. I mean, this thing is huge. You know what I mean? Really. And all these guys, Much Haps, all these guys were all the way. And that's not even getting to the CMG portion. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
What's CMG?
There was another area in Oside Crook. It's a whole bunch. It was gangsters, but they rap too. It was a lot of gangsters. I mean, we talking history, so we got to keep it 100.
Yeah,
I don't want to be no fake
no
stuff.
Judgment,
But they're not out there banging and shooting today. But do you have people like Red Bloke? I mean, you know, people that was out there rapping with them, like he went with Snoop. You know what I mean? So it's this thing rapping that we had was beautiful, right? Making the wave. But I think a lot of us didn't really know what we were doing.
Pioneers often don't, though.
Yeah.
Let's be real about that. When you're in when I say the first in the North County area being on this scene, I mean, again, making turntables out of cardboard boxes, and
You laid the foundation.
Chris Swan's in the back saying about they laying the foundation in case you can't hear him on the mic here. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, you have people like it goes further. The Damn Posse. That's with Frank Z. Kevin Hardaway. I mean, JT, Juna Tees. I mean, there's so many rappers in Oceanside that was not just rappers. You know what I mean? They were actually trying to be MCs. But I think what we were lacking back then, we didn't know the business. And like I said, when I got a little older and I started running with people like Benzino and, all the real rappers that's rapping in the world, that's one thing when I first met Benzino, that's what he always would tell me. He was in the room with me, Benzino, Nelly, DMX, David Mays, Hangman 3, Scarface. I mean, all these rappers were chilling. And he was talking to Foxy Brown on the phone. He hung up the phone and he said, he used to call me Iron Lung because I used to smoke a lot of weed back in the day. And he was like, Iron Lung. And but he would tell me, he would say, Iron Lung, learn the business. And I didn't know what he was talking about, in the first time. But he liked me, but my boy KT was his cousin, right? They were actually, it goes way back. Everybody know KT and them. They were actually Vista Sheriffs. They had Lockdown Productions.
Oh, wow.
Remember KT, right?
Boy, we getting you memories over there, Will. Is this a flashback?
Yeah, I mean, this is real stuff. It goes way back, right?
That's funny.
Right? So Benzino would be like, he would give me some game, man. He was just like, learn the business, Iron Lung. So then I remember we went back to Village Recorder Studio on Sunset Boulevard, and I took TJ, Slim's cousin. He was starstruck. He was like, man, I can't believe it here with all of these celebrities. And they was like, believe it, N-word. Believe it. It was crazy. Right. And then Benzino looked at me again. He said, Iron Lung, learn the business. Right. They all left out. And I that's how I am. I was intrigued. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he asked me, this is what he said.
How old you were?
I was probably about, at that time, I was, I don't know, maybe 25. I was a little older, 26. But you know what he said? He says, he did me like that. He said, okay, yeah, the music on. He says, who rapping? I said, that's me rapping. Some of my homies too. He said, who did the beat? I said, I did the beat. Who mixed it? I mixed it. Who mastered it? I said, I didn't get it mastered yet, but I can. He looked at me, he said, let me ask you a question. I said, what? He said, what are you? What you mean, what am I? He said, what are you? Are you an engineer? Are you a rapper? Or what are you? Like, you need to figure out what you are in this. And I was like, first I thought, what are you talking about? Then he says, do you ever go with any other people that's not in your group? I was like, no. He said, that's why your music sounds the same.
Wow.
So, but he was actually teaching me without teaching me. You know what I mean? He was actually teaching me like, bro, that's why your music sounds the same, because you're using the same people. Like, learn the business. And then he finally told me, he just said, music is a business. It is a business. Everywhere you go, everything you do, it is a business, Mark. You know what I mean? And then I sat there and I watched him cut a check with David Mace to Nelly and all those people and DMX. They did a song. I don't know if it ever came out. It was called Lean On Me. You probably be able to pull it up. It's called Lean On Me. And it was kind of based off of the Lean On Me when you, but it was a rap song. And I mean, I just started picking up little jewels from those dudes and understanding. But it was a great thing because it also pushed me back from music a little bit. Meaning, once I learned the business side of it, I knew that there was two sides of this thing. So you have to make a choice. Do you want to be broke and have fame? Or do you want to get a little cash and do some good music? Right. So I do see a lot of people who like the fame in this because they want to be on the front street. They want to be a rapper, but they're not doing the back start on the business. You know what I mean? Tours and things like that. People are like, well, why do you do a 12-city tour? Well, you got to figure it out. That's where you pick up your money. You get your deposit, and then when you're done, you pick up your cash, and you keep moving. So I think that's kind of what slowed me down too, as far as the music, because I love music. Music was great. I've had a great run. I still deal with people to this day that are professional, but I also have something bigger than that. You know what I mean? My dreams and my goals were bigger than that. So now I still use music in this form of fashion by bringing the celebrities that I know to talk to these kids. Like Maxine Jones is a good friend of mine from Invoke. She's coming to my after-school program all the time. What I found out was a lot of these people, the Snoops, the Dub C's, and Maxines, everybody really want to be a light. They really want to be a light. That was their business.
And you've been speaking about your after-school program. Let's give a shout-out to it.
Star After-School Program.
Star, you said?
Yes, ma'am. STAAR. We're at King, Jefferson, Lincoln, and Chavez Middle School in Oceanside. All 4 middle schools in Oceanside.
Yeah, and we appreciate you coming down because he's actually, after he leaves here, you got to go to work.
Back in, in at 6 in the morning. But that's what this is about, though. Yeah. I use this stuff too for music too, to teach kids how to do music. And one of my things is when I had DJ King Assassin come down a few years ago, he's actually Tupac's DJ. When we did a music program for the district before, and it was based on teaching the kids not just music, but it was based on teaching the kids how to do music and business without going into the studio saying, oh, there's women, there's men, oh, there's drugs. Oh, that's everywhere.
Yeah.
So don't look for that. Go do your craft. And then we were trying to push kids out so that they can understand, like, if you really get out there and you do your music and focus on your music, you're going to be good. But if you go out there, there's a lot of tricky stuff out there that draws people in, and then the music
shiny stuff.
Yes, and music becomes on the backboard now.
Yeah.
Now you become either a groupie or somebody who's just out there having fun, which either way, that's on you. But your mission's got to be your mission. If you're trying to do music right, and get doing music.
So, Will, you were over there kind of going down memory lane. How's this striking you?
I'm gonna tell you, you brought up Lockdown Productions. I didn't know anybody even knew who those dudes were. I met them in the jail, in the county jail. You know what I mean? And how I met them, I think we was rapping. I think we was rapping in the cell, and they was working in the booth. And they was listening to us in the exactly in the cell. They used to bump, because at the time, this is when I went to prison on this case. So I had like the most time in the county jail. So there was like this issue with me, like police was waiting for me to just explode and trip out. But we ended up having a riot in the module, boom. And they came and got me. I was the only one they came and got. But when I went to the hole, they didn't give me nothing. And the brothers, they saw that, right? Because they didn't give me no pencil, they didn't give me no paper, no books in my canteen. And they brought me food. You know what I'm saying? I mean, real food. They was bringing me pancakes, bacon, sausage, You know what I mean? And they brought my pencil. I was like, man, they didn't bring me nothing to write with. Woo, woo, woo. But they gave me their card because they like my flow and shit. So I always remembered that. You know what I mean? I was like, because they was police.
Yeah.
And it was two brothers.
Terry
and I
and
was
KT.
like, yeah. And then they used to stop by my cell every now and then and just chat it. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you doing? Woo, woo, woo. You know what I mean?
If you need to see him, you want him on the podcast, no problem.
Yeah.
They're my dudes. I was just with T Saturday.
Yeah, so shout out to Lockdown Productions.
KT is in Boston. KT is actually Benzino's cousin. KT is in Boston right now.
Yeah.
KT, Chuck, T, we just met a few months ago. We do that a lot out at Pachanga, got a room, we chill, because those are real live people. Yeah. Those are people pillars that helped me along the way. I've done music with those dudes. After the fact, T had his own company. His rest in peace, Marcellus, his nephew, was great at music. I did about 6 songs on his album. He passed away from like kidney failure and stuff like that. But I'm still in touch with those dudes today. You know, every single day. Like me and T are like this. Me, T, and his wife. I mean, we're great because those dudes were just like you said. Like I remember when I did a little stint. Like they were good people. Like one day I get up, I'm in the laundry department, and somebody knock on the door. I'm like, well, I look up and I got some Carl Jr. You don't get Carl Jr. in Vista County. Yeah. Everybody looking like, how is this fool eating Carl Jr.? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm making it out. But it was they really, and here's the deal. They actually, those dudes were just like you said. They was the same type of people when you say they're good people. They actually left because of that kind of stuff. Yeah. What they did to you. They actually quit that job. And they sued Vista Sheriff. You know what I mean? Over that kind of stuff. Discriminatory stuff. So we need those type of people. They were good people, man. Yeah. So, you know.
And I think it's worth saying, too, there are some officers on the inside that try and then they get in trouble for trying to do the right things because they're not playing that blue code, you know.
They playing the human code.
Yeah.
You're a human being. You deserve what you know, what life gives you what you want. No, life gives you what you are, not what you want.
So you sound like James Allen right there.
Right, because it come from some people over there. I'm telling you, because I do Les Brown, I do Bob Proctor, I do Jim Ron, I do E.T. E.T.'s my dude. You know what I mean? And I study every single day to be the person that I am today, because people think that you graduate from high school, you graduate from college, it's over. It's got another school called life.
That's right.
You know, so you got to keep moving every day.
So with your you were a rapper, a DJ, a promoter. You also spoke about something that we mentioned on the other podcast. Like we have social media today, so you can get some stuff together. You have a podcast yourself. You can put it on Facebook and put it on some sort of social media if you want to. But back of the day, we had street teams. I mean, the real deal. So when you mentioned the swap meets, you were one of the individuals that would. You go to your car, you see the billion flyer. Were you one of those guys?
So no, we had little dudes who did that, right? We had little dudes who did that, but I was still footwork too. You know what I mean? That was not my main, but yes, ma'am. I mean, you have to if you want to be successful. I think, or have a chance, you got to make sure you do it yourself because ain't nobody gonna do it for you. So we did have those type of people with the flyers or the tapes. I remember sometime I used to be down by the beach. And we passed stuff out. People would act like it's got the cooties or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, it's just the flyer. They're coming in a fire. But you're putting in the work, you know what I mean? That's what we had to do, man. Walk around and pass it out stuff. And then, even then, I believe, because there was people that I seen back in the day, too, making a little change. Like, Jack and then Smooth and them. Because we were like, a lot of us was going through the motions. But then they were like getting things set up. Gus put his little barcode on the end, where you can start getting paid. And then that's when people start looking like, oh, wait, it's different. And now I'll tell you a thing about that, too. I remember about 10 years ago, maybe longer than that, me and Gus was chilling out. Gus found his own music on YouTube. He didn't put it up there. Somebody else stole his stuff and put it up there. But then he also found this dude who called him from China or overseas somewhere who wanted to buy all the rest of his stuff. We went to the storage room and cleaned it out. So it's crazy. What may not be working over here, overseas, they love it.
Isn't that something, how that works like that?
They're loving it.
Yeah. It might, they really can appreciate the the
craft.
and the art.
If I remember right, them CDs was so old, but I'm almost positive they was like $40-$50 a CD. I was like, do I got any songs on there?
And I think again that's part of that business. You all were sitting on gold mines and didn't some, maybe you realized it, maybe you didn't because it's the business, but I think it's again the youngness and being pioneers, and it's new. This is North County, San Diego we're talking about. So you all are just doing it for the love of the game, and then it's hitting. And you had, and a lot of it, I think that people didn't realize how much gold, personal, and the investment that y'all had back then.
Right. I think if we did have somebody who, if the game wasn't like it was when it first started out, if we had somebody who said, hey, man, I'm going to teach you how to get it right instead of everybody wanting to take money off your back. That's different. See, back then it was like, well, this is why I'm going to sign this deal and you're going to get these peanuts and we're going to put you out there. You're going to look great. But yeah, we're going to do our X-umpteen albums, and you know what I mean? People were getting robbed. I think if there was somebody like today to say, hey, this because there's enough money to go around the music game. That's why everybody's independent nowadays. You know, nowadays it's super easy. You just follow your craft and put it on there, and then today it's not even about the music. I mean, you make a full bop, and your stuff look good. Somebody gonna buy it. You know, so today's music is a little different. I like some of the music today, but it's all sounding the same.
Yeah. But
I like it. You know, I listen to certain ones. I mean, my kids be like, "You crazy, Dad? That's old." Like, well, that's all I got on my playlist. I like it.
Yeah, I'm there with you. You know? So when it came, with what was the name? You might have had several different incarnations of your group. Did you have a group that was yours?
I just rolled with we just did East House. East House Lockdown. We just East House. That's it.
East House?
East House. We was all from the East Side. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Back in the day, that's how it worked. You would have like they were like, you know, like Dan Posse and all these people, they were making these creative names, you know what I mean? I thought there was, I forget what Dan Posse stood for, but something like that. Something.
Come on, Will. Come on.
Deaf Audio Music or something like that.
Right. So, you know
they
what I
had
mean?
different names for it too.
Right,
Like it meant different stuff.
And I remember, you know, a funny thing about that, I remember one line, and it used to make me go crazy. Like Tease. I think Tease said, we smoke people like tailpipe. Now, I just remember that line. It's just crazy from way back in the day. You know what I mean? Like it's just certain things that just resonate, and you know, you remember those are like pivotal moments. You know what I mean? But I think I've always been just East House, and then if I put out something, it would be under Big Measy, and then as getting older, like with King Assassin, I put out stuff. It's on Life or Death Records, which is still going to this day. You know what I mean? And everybody, my wife, you say, "You crazy? You just gave that to Assassin." I don't care about that music. Music don't make me. I make music. You know, and I gotta explain to everybody else, you can't have any of my tracks without it being mine. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, who made it? They're gonna say Big Me's. Like I just gave a track to Giddy. I put the rapper Cocaine is on. It's called Pay Attention. The beat is hard. Joseph Leiterman actually did it at Eagle Rock Studio, Little Death Row, the night of that show they just had, Rolling Loud. I went up that night, you know, and I gave it away pretty much, you know, because what people don't understand is if they do something with that album, I'm to the point in my life right now where I'm okay. If you do something with that album, I just love to see somebody doing something, you know, with themselves, you know. And if it blow up, of course, I'd be like, give me my cheese.
Sure.
But it's not, that's something that you can work out down the line. You know what I mean? Nowadays, everybody is so independent, and there's no longer nobody trying to really get robbed. I'm not going to sign a deal with you. That don't really happen no more. You know what I mean? So I just give it away. I still do music when I can, when I get it in, you know. But it's going to always be in me. But like I said, I make music. Music don't make me.
Since you and a lot of you all have, you know, it's, you know, we're talking about, you know, specifically the North County hip hop scene, but was there, would you say in your personal opinion that there was a different in sound here versus other places?
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely, because I remember back when we were coming up too, one of the other groups that I used to love was 415 from the Bay Area. And that music was way different from ours. Our music in Oceanside was kind of gangster rap, but we had to have something to bop to. You know what I mean? And then
a good beat.
We were bopping, like, and then we listened to the lyrics, right? But 415 was like, it gave you a different vibe. It's like that music was serious. You know what I mean? You listen to the lyrics, you're like, okay, but it's bopping too. And then they introduced, you know, a bunch of scratching. The 4, 1, the 5. You know what I mean? That's when all that stuff first came out. And it was like, oh my God. You know, and then we would listen to stuff, emulate, take little bits and pieces, make it better, make it ours, and then run with it. You know what I mean? And then we just started doing shows. It was crazy. Like doing shows, I found I was just a leader at putting them together and stuff like that because I was never afraid to talk to people. All you can do is say no. You know, all up Coast Highway, I would go down there. We do them shows. Me, Risky. Then we can't leave Risky in them out too. Real Risky, Big Risky, Gus. I mean, everybody. I just put the shows, and it was crazy. I'd be like, okay, this is the lineup. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. You going? We're gonna go 15 minutes, and we didn't even know what we was doing. But when you get down off the show, you sweating. You know how to go. You got the towel around you. Everybody like, oh man, that was awesome. You like, well, I guess it was good.
How about you, Will? Do you think there was a difference in sound, or did you feel that?
Well, during the time that we was coming up, like I was heavily into a lot of East Coast rap. Like I remember I got into hip hop before there was really any West Coast rap. So I was always listening to both. I always listened to everything that was out. So definitely there was, but I don't think we got to develop our own specific sound because like at that time, like a lot of the people, I mean, people got off into other things really quick. Like hip hop came and there was a time whenever we was rapping, we was doing the shows and then everything got real kind of quick, like with the gangs, the drugs. And then I'm, like I said, you know, I'm one of them people that was in and out of jail all my life, basically. So I was gone. I'm here for 2-3 months, then boom, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what happened, you know what I mean? But I just remember there being a serious, like we took the music serious. It was a small city, nobody knew about us, whatever, but it was a respect for the culture of hip hop here. You know what I'm saying?
We were slipping. I think they did know about us because if you think about it back in the day, it's going on the same way as now. Because think about this. Curtis Blow done been here quite a few times. You know what I mean? And when I say here, he ain't like running downtown. Like he at the bars, he at the clubs, you know, at the Mission Bowl. I mean, like in it with us. You know, so another thing I think about too now, even on the way here, Beat Boy Rage. Was that Brooklyn Boy Rage? Like it was mostly East Side. Or was it Beat Boy, you know what I mean? Like I think about a lot of these things now, like we really got a lot of our stuff, like I said, check out my melody. You know, a lot of our stuff did come from the East Coast. You know what I mean? Like, cause that's what, like you said, we didn't have too many rappers West Coast. We had Ice-T, but you know, I mean, it's crazy. You know, everybody thinks, you know, like Ice-T, gangster rap, but Ice-T ain't even no gangster. He from somewhere, but he's what do you call it? Honorary gangster. Honorary gangster. You know what I mean? 60s, honorary 60s. Ask them. You know, so, but yet. We were still following, you know, that because then we saw him on was that movie Breaking and all that, you know what I mean? In that point in that area, so it was like we was break dancing at the Boys and Girls Club. So it was just we were just looking and going at that same time, and I thank God that we were really interested in music instead of gangs. The gangs came along too. I got bullet wounds, you know what I mean? But I think at that time, I think the plan that he had was awesome because made it through the gang stuff and still able to do music. And but we still alive so far, and no more gangs for me.
We said on another, I think another podcast that there was a shift in hip hop music. You had, you had the, hotel, motel, you had that, and you had some of these other kinds of that kind of thing and fun kind of stuff, and then it kind of switched to more of a gangster rap that they called it. Do you feel that there was a shift in that, in your experience with that? And were you present for when you were in it and then you felt that shift, that it was no longer, these nice little stories that they're telling? And
I did a long, I mean, even quite a few times, to be honest with you. Long time ago, I think I felt the switch when I think maybe 92, when Snoop dropped, Dog Pound and all that. That was a real switch, yeah. But then also too, it goes and it comes because there's certain people who continue to try. If you look for gangster rap with murders, and you'll find it. There's people who still try to do that stuff to this day, and then good luck to you, because people don't understand that's another thing about music. Music is spirits. Music is spiritual. You got to be careful with what you're saying out there on these records and these albums, because you will start emulating what you believe in, because your paradigm won't allow you to do nothing. You're going to be looking at everything else and you think, this is how I'm supposed to be. But you believe in these raps, because people believe that. They say, I'm going to write what's true. But a part about that is activate, once again, the podcast. You're going to activate that stuff too. And sometimes it can come back to bite you in the butt. You know what I mean? So that gangster rap and stuff like that is beautiful. Don't get me wrong when you hear it, but then at the end of the day, you're like, well, I mean, I don't want to act off of that anymore. I see it, just as soon as 4 or 5 months ago, they coming back. Everybody in the industry is on their way back right now. I mean, you got rappers who was rapping in the 80s and 90s, and they weren't even thinking about them right now. I mean, and they're back. Like I just seen Brother Lynch Hung is finna go out. He's in stuff. I just seen what's his face, Spice One talking. He finna get ready to go on the East Coast. I mean, everybody is like moving. COVID just act like
I think the content, like the new era of music, it slaps. It makes you do all of that, but a lot of it is empty.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the artists from our era, one thing you couldn't be in our era was empty. You know what I'm saying? So the flows change, the way they, do their thing. And like you said, I like a lot of them. It's some dope. It's some cats. For a while, I was kind of like, I don't want to hear this shit. I don't, whatever. But I started listening and I found some dudes that really had skills. But, everything goes in cycles too. But, I think just the content is coming back. And it's the OGs that they got the content. They one thing we come from was educating. You could listen to hip hop back in the days and learn from it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's coming back. The times are changing. People, we went through the prison overcrowding situation. People tired of going to jail. People tired of the whole gangs and the drugs, and people want to talk about life. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's bringing a lot of the older artists back, is they got something to say.
And I think you said that we had Tease and Revelation, we had Slim on, and you said some of them from just, they're going back, those local, they're going back in the studio now, because it's like
motivated.
Yeah.
And they should know, especially Slim and them now, the direction to go. Plus they plugs that think so that's the thing about doing this music. Like a lot of people behind the scenes don't really understand, like those plugs are there. Like they can do what they need to do. They got No Sense up there. Snoop's cameraman, I mean, does a great thing. So, and he produced, a lot of this stuff too with Ghost and them. So they're going back in the studio right now. It's totally up to them how it's gonna look. Because they have action. And Slim is, you guys know, I mean, he's a prolific rapper, man. There's nothing, you can't even, that's like my brother-in-law, like you can't even deny the fact of his rap skills. You know what I mean? He rap with no music. It doesn't matter. He's a great rapper. You know what I mean? And then by them going back in, putting some stuff together, they're smart. They should know how to get their music out right now, because music now, it's like I said before, it's to put out an album is nothing, but now to get paid to promote that album is something totally different.
That's right. And Will has a couple new raps out, and they sound great. Of course, but no, they are good. I like that.
As soon as he came on, I gave him a couple tracks already. I just said, come to the house. That's how I do. Come to the house, whatever you want. You got it. I could care. I play him. He said, I won't get that one. There you go. Because I do know this. One thing I did learn, too, from a Bazine on them, too. What's the worst song you can have? Do you know what the worst song you can ever have?
The one you don't make.
Yeek. Or the one that's not finished. The one that's not finished.
Yeah.
So I can sit over there with 10, 20, 800 beats.
Yeah.
They mean nothing. Half the time I forget about them. I'll be over there playing. Oh man, why this one? You know what I mean? So you got to get rid of it, get them out. People be like, when did you make that beat last week? Look at the tag on 2011. You're like, oh.
So Mark Henry, what made the change from you? You said from Iron Lung and all of that. What happened to you that you're like, you know what? Gotta make a change.
True story. Maturity, but not just maturity. I was broke. I tell a story all the time. And so on my 30th, I was just telling you guys about when seeing Angie. My 30th, I seen the dude.
Your 30th
anniversary, what do you call it, from school?
Reunion. Yeah.
I seen the dude, Carlos Torres, who never knew that he's been in my story when I do leadership, he's been in my story for 20 years, 18, 19 years now. So what happened to me was I was at home in the Valley. Wasn't doing well. I had started freaking doing music. I was still doing music, but I had a point in my life where I used heroin for 18 months. I had just got off heroin. I'd been off of that stuff for about a year or so, maybe 2 years, but I wasn't making the right decisions as far as working. I was still trying to do music and all that. Dude knocked on my door with electric bill. It was like $190, something like that. My daughter was standing right there robbing, and it was Carlos, the dude I went to school with. Yeah, embarrassing like a mug.
Oh,
but
he dropped the bill off?
Yeah, not even the bill, the turn off, the cutoff.
Oh,
the blue envelope. Envelope's due. That means your bill's due. He come with the envelope.
Past
envelope,
due.
Yes. The envelope was burgundy, gray, tan, but the slip was blue.
Yeah.
Never forget that. And he said, Mark, he said, man, I can come back at 5 o'clock. Because that's when they come back. You feel me? That back in the day, they come back, got to turn your stuff off. Now they push the button. Now they push the button on your other side. Clink, clink, you're dark. So he said, I'll come back at 5 o'clock. And back in the day, they would take the money right then and there, right? He said, if you have the money at 5 o'clock, I go in, and be good. If you don't, I got to turn off electricity. So I had to hustle. I had to go see my mama, get some money. I had to go rob some videos from the store. Do what I had to do. And I was embarrassed out the game. I was so embarrassed because people would look up to me like, oh, this guy's doing this music, he's doing this and that, this and that. But I was so embarrassed that I said, I will never be broke again. I said, I will never let this happen. And I realized, and I think my grandfather too. My grandfather's a preacher, and I know that God works in mysterious ways. He blessed my grandfather through blessing me. And so I believe I have those blessings from him as well. And I just knew better. And I said, it's going to be hard. But when you feel that way and you really make that decision, I made the decision. I said, never again. Never. And I have never been like that again. Never again. My kids got wealth now. I will not allow that to happen. And that's why I think it's wrong with a lot of people. We allow life to kick us in the ass. But you got to take life by the horns, and you have to make it what it is, right? I'll never forget that. And I just told him in front of everybody at our 30th when I saw Carlos, I've been looking for him. Didn't know where he'd been. And I ain't seen him since that day. He said, Mark, he was living in Dago. He said, something's happened. I was gone. I'm back. Beautiful thing. And he just has no idea how much of a role that he played in my life. Right? None. And that to me was it. Like I said, I can't be this type of person looking at my kids. They didn't ask to come here. You know what I mean? So I feel like F the music, F everything. I got to focus on these guys and myself and life. And then once I did that, things just start falling together. Because you have to, like I said before, you have the domain of what you're not before you can have a domain of what you are. Like Les Brown will tell you right on top. You got to know what I'm not. I was not a thug. I was not a jerk. I was not a gang member, right? That's a distorted view of what I used to be. That's a distorted view of what I was at 20 to 30. That's all. It's distortion until you realize what's important, right? Is ganging important? Was music important? Yes. But ganging, no. All that got me was shot. My house shot up. No. So I felt like now, and then when I changed my life, it was over because I knew I had a whole bunch of friends, right, that was rolling me doing what I wasn't supposed to be doing. And I thought the main thing was going to be everybody going to fall off. Well, the people who fell off was not supposed to be there. But guess what happened? Thousands more came because you're doing what you're supposed to do. Thousands more came out. And then I started being able to help the community. I started being able to help people. I started getting my after-school program, and things just blossomed. And I just figured out, by studying every day, help more people get what they want the right way, you're going to always have what you want. Because everybody knows your heart. Like I said, to tell people all the time, you do not get paid hourly. You get paid by the value that you put in for that hour. So there's a lot of people who believe I can go to work and get $25 an hour, and that's why they don't have any money and they don't have a job. Because both of us can go to work and make $25 an hour, but yet if I do just a little bit more, they might give me 26. We had the same job, the same position, the same everything every day. We work the same hours, but I might make $2,500 and you might make $2,000 or vice versa. It's all about what you do in that value. So I've learned to make myself valuable and not available. See, a lot of people got to understand when you make yourself available, that means you're available to everybody. Now you're taking on everything that they have to offer as well, but your stuff is sitting on the back burner. And I'm going to get to mine, I'm going to get to mine, I'm going to get to mine. But now you're taking on somebody else's stuff and then they walk away and they're gone. And they're great. but you have to make yourself valuable. So I learned to make myself valuable, and availability comes as like this. You call me, I'm there. There's certain things I won't do because I got too much stuff going on in my life for that. And I try to teach people right now too, especially doing music. I love music. I'll never not do music in my whole life, ever. I'll do music. I do I was about to put on some last night. I was tired. About to go make some tracks. But music, I love music. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna do that forever. But as far as people, you just gotta become. I just had to become, maturity. And then when I matured, man, it was over. That's it.
Maturity. Yeah.
You have to.
And Mark Henry, how I got to know you was your podcast.
Amen.
And one of the things I'm a big advocate for myself is we have to control the airwaves so we can get into the brain waves. And we have to begin to create spaces that are not just legacy and corporate media,
Amen.
but spaces like you have. And I really want to make sure that I say that to you, how much I appreciate what you are doing for the community. It's beyond just the Oceanside and North County. People can access your podcast, but I do like that you have to focus locally in order to make that change globally.
I gotta start somewhere. And I feel like this, most of the people here, they support what we do, especially myself now, because they know that I'm not fly by. Like I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm giving jobs to people throughout this whole place.
You have candidates wanting to come on your program because of your reach.
Right. And like I tell them all the time, and I felt like that's crazy that you don't know or you cannot get to our people, then something wrong. Especially if you come from here.
Say that.
Something wrong. Every person that's from Oceanside, you should be able to go talk to them. They know you. They say, I don't like this person. That's not good. Especially if you're if you're politics or if you're a mayor, if you're out there like that, you got to know. You got to know and drop all the other crap because before you're human. So that's why I tell people all the time, I try to deal with the whole human.
Yeah.
Instead of one side of a human, because they always get to walk away and then the problem is still there. We can't save everybody, but I tell you one thing, not everybody know everything. And if you have something that can save somebody, like we just talked about the little young man, saving 20 years, they're going to thank you later.
That's right. Well, any kind of, as we come to the end of this particular the Mark Henry program, any parting
I
words?
appreciate you too, both of you guys.
Yeah. Well, I got to say thank you to my brother. You know what I'm saying? But I also want you to know, too, that I'm proud of you.
Amen.
I'm happy for you, because like you said, we was out there. You know what I'm saying? Doing,
God knows
out
what.
there things.
For
God
real.
knows what.
You know what I mean? And this is, I'm glad to see. One of the things, like while I was locked up, I would hear, it wasn't too many homies that I would be around, but I might call somebody or some, names come up and they were telling me how you was doing. And I was glad, you know what I mean? Because I remember the flat top. I remember all that way back.
Right.
The house parties, all of that. So, and then the era of everybody going through their shit, getting in trouble, doing what we was doing. But it was glad to.
So far, go so far back. Did you know that when you went in, Champion came to me and I bailed you out?
Yeah.
I gave him all like that. Take it.
Yeah.
Go get the home. No questions. I wasn't even at home.
And then I was back in.
like within a week or
Yeah,
so.
like
2 days, 3 days. I said,
So,
what the heck?
thank you.
yeah.
I wasn't even at home. I was actually in LA at the Bonaventure Hotel. And I called home. I said, hey, we'll take.
Yeah.
And man,
Yeah,
that's
I
my
remember
dude,
that.
bro. It was like back then, I was making money not the right way I was supposed to, but I had it.
But yeah, I just, I heard about your progress, and I was happy for that. Back then, because I know, I was in real prison. A lot of people talk about going to jail and prison, and you're not in real prison. So it was like to hear that some of my folks is out there doing well, not coming to prison. Like you could have been right there with me. You know what I'm saying? And so, because I held a lot of weight too from a lot of the homies that was going to jail or that got killed, and people didn't know that I was holding that. Like I felt responsible for for a lot of people taking that path. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
And that's true, because that's in music, to be honest with you, that's how music works too. See, people looked at you because of the music, but at the same time, before the music, you was Stash.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So when they see that, other people, especially our youngsters, was emulating it, and that's why why I drive so hard. to this day, because I know it's like raising a baby. They ain't gonna tell you right away that they know what you're doing, but you're gonna see them. You're doing what you ain't supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? They'll tell you drink beer all the time. You know, they go get the beer instead of water. Say, yeah, you know what I mean? You see that. So I understand at the same time. That's how we have to be to the kids. There's no longer this old stuff about the future and this and that. They know that, but the kids need to know. People need to know how valuable they are coming up, so that they can not do some of the silly things that we did. You know, I think a lot of times people do stuff because they don't really know who they are. They don't really know the value, and they're just going through with it.
And I had that same experience, like when you talked about, I'm not this. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a thug. I had that paradigm shift in prison where I realized, like, this ain't who I am.
Right.
I got manufactured into this. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's not to take. I take accountability for everything that I did. You know what I'm saying? But I understood there were other factors that kind of led me down this path, and once I made that decision, just like you said, it was a hard road to be focused and positive in prison. You know what I mean? On level 4s. You feel me? So it's like I'm looking at everything like this is all bullshit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, how I get caught up in this bullshit.
Because a person, a human cannot go beyond their belief. That's the thing. You have to discover who you are. And that's why it's a great thing. That's why it's called discovery, because you can live up to something for 28 years and then the next day you can be different. I discovered that didn't work. And once you discover something, it's hard for you to undiscover it.
Yeah.
It's like that biting off that tree of knowledge, that apple. You can never
Can't go back.
go back once you got it. Yes, Will?
And if you try to, then that's where I think you start to destroy yourself. It's not real. It's a quote I always remember. It was from a physics book, but I think it was called The Holographic Universe. But one of the things that stuck out was he said it is far more dangerous to adhere to something that's not true than it is to just face the actual fact. You know what I'm saying? And that stuck with me, and I could see, like, yeah, to continue down this road, and I know it's not what I am, or it's not gonna produce anything positive. You know what I mean? That's worse.
Yeah. It's
You
gonna
know
be
what I'm
terrible.
saying? Than just facing the truth and saying, hey, I'm cool, I'm through. Y'all don't like me no more, so what? You know what I mean?
Because half the time they through.
Yeah.
And for real. And they just riding off of what they think you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the best way you got to be, man. You have to put first foot first, second
But I
second.
also understood too that everybody is going through their own evolutionary process. So that helped me not to judge homies that still wanted to do the same thing we've been doing. But it got to a point where it's like, bro, I've been doing this since I was 14. You know what I mean? I'm done. What else is there? I got a life sentence. What else are you gonna get from the game? You either gonna get rich and you know, be on the hill somewhere, or you going to the penitentiary. We went to the penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? What else did I expect to get from the game? That was the championship ring. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, okay, I got to do something else with my life. And then I can't teach this to people when I know it's not, you know, all we're capable of. I felt like I'm not putting down, like I never denounced gang banging or gang bangers, but I just understood that we was greater than just this.
There it is.
You know what I'm saying?
There it is. It's like a Les Brown says, right? And I love Les Brown, man. He says, and it keeps me grounded. He says, don't teach what you don't know and don't lead where you won't go.
Wow.
Period. If you keep those things in mind, you're going to be all right. Because no one can tell you what you don't know. You know what I mean? Especially if you study, like you said, you study that and then you found out, you know, what you were not. And a lot of people don't want to say that they're not. You know what I mean? They want to keep that. I'll be the first one to tell you, don't. When anybody call me Big Measy, I know where you at. I know where you coming from. You call me Mark Henry, then I know where you at. We on some new stuff. I'm Mark Henry. You feel me? And I know that. And so those are some of the things. But now what you said, though, it doesn't make you judge, but it also made me wise. I don't judge people, but you get to a point to where things, let me tell you something. When you pop your 6-figure checks, they can't go where you're gonna go.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm not gonna judge nobody, but I'm not gonna mess with you.
Yeah.
Period. Because we're not doing the same type of things. And there's key holders in your story. So sometimes a key holder, you never know who they are. They may not like that person or those people or those things. They loved you until that day they saw you, until they discovered you was with them.
Yeah.
And then there goes your chances. Right? So if you know, it's like a snake. Like I tell people all the time, what does a snake do when he shed his skin? Well, they say he grows. Then what is he? A bigger snake. That's it. He's a bigger snake. So you have to realize how valuable, how much do you want your dream? How much do you want your goal? Now, I want my goal so much that I'm not going to really trip on nobody, but I just focus on my stuff, period. And then if I can help, if you're in line with what I'm doing, then we're going to roll. But if it's not in line with what I'm doing and I don't feel good about you, people only deal with who they know, like, and trust. If I don't know you, I ain't going to like you. If I don't like you, I can't trust you, period. So if I don't trust you, I'm not dealing with you. I don't give anybody those opportunities because at the end of the day, like I said, they walk away with whatever they walk away with, and you walk away with whatever you walk away with. You may not be happy with what you walk away with. But I do know one thing. I don't know chance. Whose chance? I don't leave it to chance. I do it myself.
There you go.
And I'm going to die when I sleep. I sleep when I die. You know Chance? I don't never seen Chance. They said leave it to Chance. I'm like, Chance. Chance the rapper? He in Chicago. He ain't over here. So, you know what I mean? So that's why I say I'm moving forward. And that's why I mentor and I still talk to people who are my homies that are older than me, who are this and that, because I know one thing I do know is this: if it's not there, it's not there. If you don't, I don't care who you are. When I first started talking to like city officials and stuff, and then start thinking, well, man, I wouldn't do that. What'd you do, Mark? I would do this. Oh, I didn't. And you say, well, damn, I thought you would know that. You just never know.
Yeah.
You don't know who or where until they open their thing.
Yeah.
You open that mouth, you're like, ooh, no wonder you ain't
And
making
you're
it.
in charge, and you're a gatekeeper. So on that note, we want to thank so much Mark Henry for coming to the Music for Life podcast. Thank for Christopher Swan and Andreas Marin, Will Harrison of Outwork Dream Killers. And again, right here in Carlsbad, California. Thank you for joining us.
And thank you.
Peace.
Thank you.
Amen.
Into life, things that I give, they don't listen, they just envy. Told them hit the books, hit the gym, keep it steady. Told them build credit, own something when you're ready. They rather chase clout than a check, that's petty. I ain't beefing, I'm building. I'm breaking these curses for my children. From the trolley line days to the millions. Kept my circle like a dot, got a center of a vision. Yeah, real man, real OG, I don't fall. Oceanside sitting heavy on my soul.